I'm continuing with my reading, and what I'm doing in this series is I'm reading through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in a chronological order of events, rather not by publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as we move along. Right now, I am still in Exodus, and this is chapter 38. Bezaleel and others make the altar of burnt offerings and all things pertaining to the tabernacle. 603,550 men make their offerings. Okay. And he made the altar of burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were of the same. And he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots and the shovels and the basins and the flesh hooks and the fire pans. All the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof, beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass to be placed for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with brass, and he put the staves into the rings of the sides of the altar to bear it withal. And he made the altar hollow with boards, and he made the laver of brass and the foot of it of brass, of the looking glasses of the women assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. That sounds odd. But the looking glasses, of course, that's mirrors. So, not sure what mirrors had to do with the laver. But verse 9. And he made the court on the south side southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, and 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits. Their pillars 10, and their sockets 10. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the east side, eastward, 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits. Their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate on this hand and that hand were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen. And the sockets for the pillars were of brass, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters of silver, and all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And 20 cubits was the length, and the height in the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. And the pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and their overlaying of their chapiters, and their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. Okay, the chapiters, this is, in the modern day, we would call this the capital. And that's just the top of the pillar. So you have the board going up, and you have the top of it. And that's the capital, or, as it says here, the chapiter. And that was overlaid with silver. So there you go. But again, we're just going over what was already commanded previously to reinforce. Once again, the reason for this is proof that Israel followed the commands of God. We were given the commands in a previous chapter. Now we are given the proof that Israel is obedient, at least in this. Anyways, verse 21. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son to Aaron the priest. And Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer in blue and in purple and in scarlet and in fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work, in all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents, and 730 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,760 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for every man, that is half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary. For every one that went to be numbered, from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and of the sockets of the veil, 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks of the pillars, and overlaid their chapiters, and filleted them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Okay, so that's just telling us how much. And remember in the previous chapter, we talked about they were commanded, everybody had to give a half a shekel, or a bekah, and it didn't matter how rich you were, anything, everybody had to give the same amount. So we're getting a tally of how much they gave. Now, I can't quite remember how much a talent would be in the modern day, but a talent is a measurement of weight. So let's look in the Bible dictionary real quick, see if they have it. I know they have it in the Institute manual. So if I can't find it here, maybe I will make another video looking at the table in the Institute manual, so we can get here we do have it. Under weights and measures in the Bible dictionary, let's see. Okay, shekel. Uncertain what its exact weight was in early times. From the 2nd century, it was 218 grams. I wish they'd put that in ounces and pounds. I mean, I'm American. No offense to anybody in Europe, but I really wish that they would at least give both. Anyways, a talent equivalent to 3,000 shekels weighed about 75.5 pounds, or 34 kilograms. Okay. So 3,000 shekels, that would be like, a shekel would be a couple ounces. Okay, now bekah being a half a shekel, 88 grains, or 5.7 grams. Interesting. Okay, so talent is 75 pounds of gold, or just 75 pounds. These are talents of gold, talents of silver. So that gives you some indication of the weight of material used in making the ark, or not the ark, the tabernacle. But we will see you in the next one.